Hello, good evening. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Or evening, I guess. Yeah, I'm trying to stream a little bit earlier. Add some variety to the stream time so that different time zones can catch me at different times. Let's see. I'm thinking about running Burgeon on the second half. And then some kind of National in the first half, but I don't know if I can run... I don't know if I have enough Hydro to run National in the first half, actually. But I do need some kind of Pyro here. Very handsome, thank you. What's my favorite Burgeon team? Usually it would be something like this. The core is Nahida, Xingqiu, and Toma. And then for the fourth, I'll probably do something like Kazuha for grouping, or maybe throw in extra Hydro with something like Yelan. Actually, or maybe extra Pyro for better or faster Burgeon procs. And Kazuha helps with that too, because Kazuha might be able to infuse the Pyro. Thanks for reminding me that I need to suffer again. Yep. It's the 16th of the month, and you know what that means. That means we have to put ourselves through some self-deprecating Abyss runs. Let's see. Should I not run Kazuha here? Maybe I'll just do Sucrose, actually. That could work. Maybe I'll... Or maybe... No, yeah, I think... Do Sucrose and then Xiangling. Maybe Rosaria. I could do... Let's see, that should work, right? Yeah, I think that'll work. And then here I'll throw in Kazuha. Okay, let's give that a shot. So I'm doing Reverse Melt National Rosaria on the first half and Burgeon Toma on the second half. And I don't really know how to group these guys very effectively, so let's see how this goes. Oof, the explosion from the Geo ones actually end up dealing a lot of damage to the... A lot of damage to the monument. Ask about the blessing effect today. I actually didn't take a good look at it. Let me check it out after this and then I can let you know. See if I can give you a better idea to understand it. Oh my goodness, each of those slams did so much damage to this monument. That's crazy. Okay, but he leaped out of it, so that's good. Maybe I'm supposed to go for the Spectres first on this side, because it looks like they were focusing the monument the entire time while I was fighting the Lava Troll. You should try Nahida, Bennett, Kazuha, Yelan, Xingqiu, Burn Burgeon with Yelan, Xingqiu, Nuke. Yeah, that's similar to what I run currently. Let's see here. Oh no, this is that. Okay, I think I'll have to finish the chamber first, and then I can exit and then read the effect, and then tell you. Oh my goodness, these guys are doing so much damage to this monument. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get 60% on this run. We'll have to come back for it later. Let me know if you guys have any tips for this first chamber. They're grouping these. There's so many ranged enemies on this one, which makes it pretty difficult. Yep, there's the threshold, 60%. Still working the Nightmare Abyss. Yeah, we are. Let's take a look at this. Lunar Blessing. Oh, not there. Let's see. Blessing of the Abyssal Moon. After the active character's normal attack hit opponents, the damage dealt by this character will increase by 12% for 2 seconds. This effect can stack up to 5 times. Each stack's duration is counted independently. This effect can be triggered once every 0.05 seconds. This effect will be cancelled when the character leaves the field. Okay, so this means that each time you land a normal attack on the enemy, the damage percent, your overall damage percent. So normally this damage percent is calculated, or normally damage percent is given to you in the form of like elemental damage percent, usually like pyro damage or cryo damage or physical damage. But in this case, it's a global damage increase. So then it increases all of your damage by 12%. And that stacks up to 5 times. So then if you normal attack 5 times, then that means your damage percent is increased by 60%. So it's kind of like getting a free goblet, or free like damage percent goblet on top of the one that you already have. So this encourages characters that can normal attack quickly and stay on the field for a long time. So then this would be characters like Yoimiya. Let me think. A lot of like infused archers are going to be good for this, like Yoimiya, Child. Let me think. I guess physical attackers, but not as good because they typically attack kind of slow. But yeah, anybody who can normal attack quickly, stay on the field for a long time, and deal one type of damage. Yoimiya is the one that comes to mind for me. I think that's kind of the big one. I guess Alhaitham too benefits a lot from this. Oh, that's a good point actually. I'm taking splash damage from my Burgeon procs, huh? Because the Burgeon deals friendly fire. Burgeon and Bloom deal friendly fire, so then my Burgeon procs are probably damaging the monument too, which is not good. Yeah, Alhaitham, Ayato, oh, Hutao, yeah, Hutao would be good for this. Ayato, Hutao, Alhaitham, yeah, all good suggestions there. So yeah, characters who can normal attack a lot, stay on the field for a long time, and preferably deal elemental damage with their normal attacks. Oh, Kachin comes to mind too, actually. Damage increases won't matter against enemy elemental shields. That's correct. Elemental shields are only affected by elemental gauge units. So the damage that you deal to the shields is like it just purely depends on the reaction and the element that you're using. It doesn't depend on any damage. Well, it depends a little bit on the damage that you deal because shields take blunt damage, or it's called. So then some of your damage does get translated into some damage into the shield, but it's a very, very negligible amount. And most of the damage that you deal to the shields is based on the reaction itself. Any thoughts on Alhaitham Burgeon teams? I think, yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I don't know if you'll be able to get enough pyro application, because Alhaitham typically requires you to be on field, and there aren't that many pyro characters who can trigger pyro application quickly off field, except for Xiangling. But Xiangling has energy problems, so then you would probably want to run like Bennett, Xiangling, Alhaitham, and then one Hydro character, I guess. I guess that could work. Alright, let's give this second chamber a shot. Looks like it's just the Abyss Lecter, so this one should not be too hard. Oh, not dodging this guy's moves very well. Yeah, between Pyro and Cryo, it should be pretty easy to break this guy's shield. Oh my goodness, I can't dodge anything. Which Pyro for Alhaitham? Toma can work, I guess. Actually, yeah, Toma would work. I think that's fine, actually, yeah. Toma, Alhaitham, and then Xingqiu, and then one flex slot. I think that would work, actually. That sounds pretty good. Oh yeah, and Sino would work too. That's a good call out. For the taking advantage of the Lunar Blessing, I mean. That sounds pretty good. Oh, I missed the second skill cast of Xingqiu's skill. That's not good. Oh, they're so spread apart. Oh, she teleported over here though. That's kind of nice. Didn't expect that. I thought she would keep her distance the entire time. Alright, that wasn't too bad. I tried Alhaitham, Xingqiu, Toma, Bennett. Worked fine, but my Toma was level 80 and couldn't 12-1 in time. Am I not saying his name right? Sino? Isn't that how it's pronounced? Sino? Alright, Rosario's kind of low, but we were okay. Got her back up. And then we have a Mirror Maiden, okay. Yeah, this floor isn't too bad either. Or this chamber. See if we can bring her back with Sucrose's burst. Nice. Vacuum effect is really helpful. Oh, we almost got her. Okay. Is Ganyu... Let's see. I want to ask how many cycles for one Spiral Abyss. It's usually 2. It's usually 3. Every now and then you'll get one that's 2 because the days of the month don't line up exactly with the patches. Because each patch is every 6 weeks, and each Spiral Abyss is every 15 or so days, which is 15 to 16 days, which is just over 2 weeks. So then for most patches, you'll get 3 cycles of the same Spiral Abyss, but every now and then the number of days ends up catching up with, or kind of overflowing with, the cadence of the patches, which is every 2 weeks, and then you get a shorter cycle every now and then. So we should see one more cycle of this version of the Spiral Abyss after this one. So then on July 1st, it's June 16th now, so this is the second cycle. On July 1st, we'll probably see a third cycle of this, and then the patch for 3.8 will drop shortly after that. Oh, people say Sino? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Well, I guess it's because I'm used to the Japanese VA, and they say Sino. Me and my Japanese pronunciations. I'm sorry, guys. And here I'm using different elements for the different shields, so that as I'm going through my rotation, when I use my Hydro abilities, I'm going to put it on the Pyro shield. When I'm using my Pyro abilities, I'm going to put it on the Cryo shield, and so on and so forth. Looks like we have 2 Hydro Heralds. These guys are pretty tough to group because they run around a lot. So I'm going to try to take them close to a wall here. Pull them together with Kazuha's burst whenever I can. But once they go into their shield phase, it should be very fast because Nahida is so fast at breaking these guys' shields. It's actually crazy how fast Nahida breaks Hydro shields. Because she gets like Dendro application from her skill, and then the Trikarma procs from her skill, and then her normal and charge attacks. So then It's just, there's so many sources of Dendro application coming from her. Alright, now we're on to the real one. So for this one, I usually take Nahida National into the second half. That seems to be the most consistent clear for me so far. But even that's not surefire on the first chamber. The first chamber is insane. And then on the first half, we have a few options. I usually like to put something with Kazuha just because his grouping makes everything a bit easier. I'll probably do... let me think. I'm leaning towards a Raiden Aggravate team. That seems to work pretty well for me. Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're just getting into floor 12 now. I'm debating between Freeze and Aggravate Raiden. Freeze might be a little bit easier, actually. Yeah, this is a tough iteration. I feel you. This is one of the hardest 12-1s we've had in a long time. I cannot clear the second half consistently at all. It takes me so many retries. I really have to get lucky with the Cryo Heralds. I have to kind of get them to go into the shield phase at the same time, and then I have to recharge Xiangling's burst really quickly, and then use her burst while they're still together. And if I can break the cryo shields roughly at the same time with Xiangling's burst, then it makes it a pretty smooth clear, because then I just have the Hydro Herald left, and that's a lot easier to deal with. But when all three of them are up at the same time and you're getting frozen and the cryo heralds are all over the place, it's so hard. Go freeze comp, official Beidou Aggravate. Yeah, Beidou official Aggravate is another option. Raiden is kind of like the more consistent version of that, just because Raiden's damage is a little bit easier to put out than Beidou's, because she's not as reliant on the grouping. Mono Geo first half. I don't have Ito, so I don't have a lot of Geo characters at all, actually. Now that I look at it, Zhongli's the only 5-star Geo character that I have. So I probably can't run Mono Geo, unfortunately. There's a lot of RNG with their movements. Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to kind of get them to move predictably. Kaching Aggravate? I could try that. I don't think my Kaching is strong enough. Beidou has defensive utility. Wanderer Hyper. And Sinnoh Bloom. Oh, interesting. Which Herald is hard to deal with, Cryo or Hydro? In terms of difficulty to deal with, I think the Hydro one is more annoying, like individually. But just because there's two of the Cryo ones, and they're the ones that enable the freeze. Well, I guess they both they both enable the freeze, I guess, because you can't have one without the other. But I usually go for the cryo ones first, just because I have so much more pyro application on the team that it ends up being a little faster to take them out. I usually deal with the Hydro one first. The skill CD increase is bad with cryo. You can cleanse it with one instance of Bennett's self pyro application. Now that's a good point, actually. Maybe I can, especially with Nahida, like I was saying. Nahida burns through the Hydro Shield so quickly, so maybe with Nahida I will try focusing the Hydro one first, and then deal with the Cryo ones afterwards. That could work. Let me try that. Alright, I'll go freeze. I'm sorry. It's kind of cheating, but I I want a consistent first half so that I don't have to retry so many times on the second half, because I already know I'm gonna fail so many times on the second half. Alright, let's give it a shot. First wave, we're just gonna group the Whopper flowers as usual. Let's bring them together again. We're still kind of far apart. Let's bring them together one more time. Oh, this guy completely dodged Ayaka's burst. What the heck? Alright, and we'll move to the side to bring them together. Wait for those guys to move towards me. I feel like the time is not so good right now. I started the third wave at 9:00, which is kind of slow. Maybe it'll be enough. We'll see. Oh, and yeah, Kokomi's cooldown isn't up. Yeah, we're looking at like a sub 8:30 clear, which is not great for the second half. We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna try focusing the Hydro one first. And see if that works out a little bit better. Let's move on. Let's tag all three of them here. Okay, he just phased. Wait, no, he didn't phase. That was the other guy. And the other thing is the Cryo Heralds also drain your stamina. So then, like, it's so hard to, like, dash and dodge their attacks too. Alright, we have 20 seconds to beat both Cryo Heralds. I don't think we can do it. Because this one just phased. Actually, it's going to be close. Let's see if Xiangling's burst can get them down. Oh, it's going to be super close. Oh yeah, but the other one just jumped away from me, so... Yeah, so we got 655, really close. If we were... Our first half clear was really slow. So if I had a faster clear on that first half, this would have been a clear. Definitely would have been a clear. Because the first half, I'm usually aiming to clear it by like 8:35 to 8:40. And we cleared at 8:27. So I can definitely save 10 seconds there. And that would have given me a clear on this half. But yeah, focusing the Hydro one first seems to work pretty well. Nahida being able to burn through that Hydro Shield super fast seems to be the way to go. And then the Cryo Heralds by themselves are a lot easier to deal with because you can't get frozen, and that's like half of the problem on this chamber. Alright, on to the second chamber. Yeah, if my AoE damage were a little bit better and the other Cryo Herald phased a little bit earlier, then I think I would have gotten the clear, because I wouldn't have to spend as much time trying to focus it down and waiting for that animation. Alright, on this chamber, freeze is not super useful, but we're just gonna kind of brute force it with Ayaka. She usually has enough damage to beat this guy in a pretty reasonable amount of time. Oh, I almost died there. My energy is not looking good. I think I need Fab on Shenhe. Hopefully after this rotation I've got it. We don't want to be taking too much longer than a minute on this half. And for this last rotation, I'm not going to use any of my bursts because I need them for the third chamber. What's on my Kokomi? Yeah, it's Prototype Amber. I use that on Kokomi because that helps with her energy constraints. Because I like to have her burst up on every single rotation, and Prototype Amber's effect, which restores energy, helps a lot for her. And also it helps to heal the entire team without Kokomi having to really stay on field. Yeah, that's my weapon of choice on her. My Xiangling and Bennett energy are not full. I think it should be okay. This team deals so much damage to this guy because there's so many reactions happening here. We've got the Quicken reactions from Nahida, we've got the Version reactions, and we also have the Overload reactions. So then we're hitting it with so many reactions simultaneously that it burns down so quickly with this team. So it's usually not a problem, even if our rotations and stuff aren't perfect. Oh, I do need more energy on Xiangling. They're going into the third chamber. Whoa, oh shoot. That's not good. Yeah, so Xiangling doesn't have full energy here, which might become a problem going into the third chamber. We'll see. Yeah, I killed it a little too fast. That Pyronado ended up proccing it. Alright, last one. This is the tough one. We're gonna focus on the blue one as usual. I'm gonna try to group them with Kazuha. And then when we use Ayaka's burst, we're gonna try to get a good angle here so that you can hit both of them. Okay, and that should take out roughly half of their HP. That's what we're aiming for here. Yeah, one more burst should hopefully do the job. Oh, the green one is kind of out of range. That's not good. Okay. I think we can finish it without using another burst though. That's good. Okay. Second wave. Got about a minute left. Doing okay on time, I think. Alright, second rotation, hopefully the last rotation. And staying close to the blue one always, as usual. Okay, that gets us an 8:18 clear. That should be plenty of time for the for this boss, even without Xiangling's burst up. Let's see. Honestly, same on Prototype Amber, even though TTDS is better, Amber is just comfy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I prefer the extra energy and the extra healing. It just adds a lot of consistency, more room for mistakes. I tend to mess up the rotation. Oh, okay, this is talking about the Mono Geo team. You should have avoided it. There was like a 30-second left to refunnel. Yeah, I definitely could have waited the Pyronado out and then gone back in to recharge Xiangling's burst. Alright. Last chamber, here we go. Alright, Nahida for the Hydro Shield. And try to get some burst in here, recharge Xiangling's burst, and then Xingqiu's burst back for the Pyro Shield. It's going into our second rotation now. This is our damage window. Chance to deal most of our damage. And then he should come back up with the Cryo Shield soon. Yep, there it is. Break it again with Pyro. And we are good to go. Oh, wait, we're not good to go. Alright, break the Hydro Shield with Nahida again. Okay, there we go. And we got a 720 clear. So that was a really smooth Chamber 3 clear. Probably one of the smoothest ones I've done. And yeah, Kokomi is by far the best Hydro Applier, or AoE Hydro Applier in the game. She's the only character in the game who has 100% Hydro uptime, which means you have AoE Hydro application every second for the entire 20 seconds of the rotation. So you can, in theory, keep the enemies frozen 100% of the time with Kokomi, and she's the only character in the game who can do that. So very, very valuable in terms of Hydro application. Mona's Hydro application is much more bursty. So then it's a shorter time window, but you get a huge damage boost or a huge damage buff while they're frozen because of that omen effect on her burst. So Mona's better for dealing like short bursts of damage, whereas Kokomi is better for keeping enemies frozen for the entire time. Alright, let's go back and pick us some stars here. We need 1 star on floor 11 on that first chamber. You guys were saying Burgeon is no good here because it deals friendly fire to the monument. So I'm going to try to avoid Burgeon here. Let's see. I feel like the national team on the first half did mostly okay. And we're going to need something... These Hilichurl rogues are really annoying because they stay ranged and they just throw a bunch of stuff at the monument. I wonder if there's a way we can like protect the monument somehow with some geostructures. Or maybe we just focus them down really hard. I think the other option is to just run Venti on the first half so we can CC the Spectres really, really quickly. Yeah, Kokomi is like tier S, like easily. I would say like, I put her up there with like, well maybe not as valuable as Nahida. Like Nahida, Kazuha are like the 2 like tier S characters that I consider to be like must-haves for everybody. And then I would say like Kokomi, Raiden, and maybe like Zhongli are also kind of up there as like very, very valuable characters that enhance your roster a lot. So yeah, definitely a very, very high priority pick. Alright, let's try Hyper Bloom on the first half, or second half, sorry. Let's see here. We'll go for like a super Hyper Bloom team. And then on the first half, I kind of want to do like a Freeze Venti team, but then we've got the Lava Churl, which makes it a little awkward. Maybe we can do an Overload Venti team instead. Let's try that. So the idea here is to just group the enemies with Venti's burst and not have to deal with them. All the Archons got it, yeah. Yeah, I'm just recommending all the Archons pretty much. And Kokomi is like the Hydra Archon for now until the real one comes out. Sucrose National is good on the first half. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. Let's see if I can aim this right. Oh, I took so much damage on the monument there. I gotta stop these guys before they hit the monument. Oh, these guys are immune to electro damage. That's awkward. Okay, last wave. Okay, we just have the Lava Churl left. And he's away from the monument. We're at 81%. I feel like that's not great, but we'll see what we can see how the second half goes. And Bennett is the Pyro Archon, that's right. Yeah, most 5-star Hydro characters are just really, really good because Hydro application is a limiting factor for a lot of teams in this game. So I feel like innately a lot of Hydro characters tend to come out really, really strong. Yelan, Ayato, Kokomi, yeah, all of those are like at least tier like A characters. And even Mono, who's like a standard 5-star, I would say is very, very strong. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Oh, what the? Yeah, so it looks like the mid-churl is ignoring the monument for the most part, so I think I can just focus these rogue hilly churls, and that will actually, yeah, the monument took barely any damage there. Actually, I don't know if I just got lucky or if that's just how it is normally. No, get away. Okay, that went much more smoothly. I only took like 5% of damage on the monument on that second half, which is way less than what I took last time. I don't know what I did differently, but I guess focusing the rogues is kind of the way to go, because it looks like the mid-churl doesn't really deal too much damage to the monument, so focusing the range attacks on the mid-churls, trying to take them down as quickly as possible, seems to be the way to go there. Hopefully we get some better reactions with Dendro, Geo, and Anemo. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, Dendro already has more than enough reactions, but then if we can get an interaction between Dendro and one of those two, that would be pretty sweet. And yeah, I think Pyro needs some work too. Currently, we pretty much just have Vaporize, and most other Pyro... I mean, Overload is okay too, I guess. But Overload is usually used in like Electro-focused teams rather than Pyro-focused teams. I guess Yoimiya. Yoimiya is an Overload user. But aside from her, I don't think there's really any other Pyro characters that depend on Overload too heavily. Alright, first half. Or first chamber. Let's redo this. I think the team that we had before was fine, so let's hold on to that one. And then in the first chamber, we just need something that can get through these guys a little bit more quickly. Probably some kind of Aggravate team. Aggravate does really well here. Probably Aggravate with Kazuha. So I'll do something like... Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Okay, yeah. Because the nice thing about Raiden teams combined with characters who have short cooldowns is that you can get an 18-second rotation instead of a 20-second rotation like most teams. So then you end up with a much faster rotation. Each wave takes less time, and you can come out with a faster clear that way. Oh, Burgeon teams, that's true. Yeah, Burgeon is also a pretty strong... Well, it's a Pyro I mean, it uses Pyro characters, but it deals Dendro damage, so then I don't know if that counts as a Pyro reaction, but yeah. Burgeon is also a very, very strong Pyro reaction, that's true. Yeah, Crystallize is... Yeah, Crystallize is a little disappointing for sure. I agree with that. Alright, Raiden just doing Raiden things. Oh, that sent it way far. That's not good. Yeah, these guys got split up really bad. But we're at 919, and that's the benefit of having that short rotation, like I was saying. Even though it took us more than 2 rotations, we still only took about the same amount of time that a normal team would have taken for two full rotations. Okay, 855 going into the last wave. That's pretty good. Pretty good by my standards. No. Okay, 836. So we managed to save like 10, 11 more seconds compared to our first run, our first attempt. So we're much better off going into this half. You should have played in the center since you're using Kazuha. That's true, actually. I guess I don't have to wait for them to walk towards me since I have Kazuha to group them anyway. I can just use his hold skill to pull them together. So I can save some time there. Yeah, if Crystallized did damage, I think that would be much better. There was a Spiral Abyss iteration where the Lunar Blessing was where the crystallized crystals would actually deal damage when like you pick them up, and that was like a really nice iteration for Geo characters. That was when like Ito came out, and I think if they just like did that permanently, that would feel much better for Geo characters. Ooh, I almost lost Xingqiu there. Alright, we managed to get the Hydro one down before both of these guys phased, so I feel like we should be in a pretty good shape. We have about 10 more seconds than compared to last time, so the timing is consistent with what we were seeing. Alright, Xiangling's burst is up. As long as we can keep these guys together, we should be good. Because Xiangling deals so much pyro. Oh my god, and he runs away as I say that. Okay, there we go. I think we should be good. Whew. Yeah, we got the clear at 8:07. So we actually got it way faster than last time now that I think about it, because we had 10 more seconds. Oh, no, it's not that much faster. Okay. No, yeah, because last time we cleared at like 7:56. Or sorry, 6:56. And this time we cleared at 8:07, which is about 11 seconds faster. Oh, but our first half was 11 seconds faster. Yeah, so that's exactly the difference. Yeah. So that first half clear gave us enough time to make up for it. Hello, welcome, Mero. Thanks for joining us. All right. And that is our clear for this iteration. Let's see if we get any good artifacts here. I should have checked that Instructor's Cup to see if it was EM. Def Sands. And last one, Berserkers. Okay. We've got attack ER HP. Crit damage EM attack. Crit rate, flat def, flat attack. And HP crit damage EM. Okay, nothing crazy. I'm probably gonna roll that flower that I just got to see if we roll 2 lines of crit. But aside from that, nothing too crazy here. And no crits. Okay, so this is fodder. Alright, another reason to kill Hydro first is because it's only one enemy to kill to remove freeze, while 2 cryo would be split up. That's a really good point, yeah. Chasing down, trying to keep the 2 cryo enemies together and then chasing them down and trying to kill them at the same time is going to be a lot harder than just focusing the Hydro one and getting it down ASAP. So that's a good point. All right, I think that's it. Let me see. Let me see if I missed anything to see if there's any like comps that people were asking about? I don't think so. Somebody wanted to see Alhaitham first half. I don't know if I'm good enough with Alhaitham for that. Yeah, the Hydro Beyblade. What's his crit balance? 67, 124. That's not too bad. His attack is so low though. Jeez. Because I think I'm running the EM sands. No, I'm running ER sands, huh? ER Dendro crit. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead, Mero. You can ask whatever you want. Did I try Hyperbloom second half with Fischl as a flex? Hyperbloom on the second half? The problem with running Hyperbloom on second half is that you don't have Pyro, and you need the Pyro application to break the Cryo Shields. So I think it wouldn't work. You could run it on the first half, but let me see. So you're relying on Fischl's fast Electro application to break the Cryo Shields? Huh. We could try that. We could try. Let's see. And then Fischl. Right, it's half, or not half, but it's like 2/3 as effective as Pyro. No, it's half. It's half. Superconduct is reaction coefficient 1. Forward melt is reaction coefficient 2, so it's half as effective. I guess you have two sources of Electro here, and Kuki also deals AoE Electro, so then it might work. I can give it a shot. I feel like in this case, though, I would definitely have to go for the Cryo ones first, because like even if I go for the Hydro one first, it's going to take me so long to break the Cryo Shields afterwards, right? Mero asked, while generally speaking my builds are good, I still sometimes struggle with getting enough energy particles, not to mention having to idle on my character until I catch the particles. Do I have any advice for that? I would say I usually design my rotations so that I catch the particles like without having to like think about it. So then just the order of my rotations are usually ordered so that when the character is on the field, they pick up the particles from either the previous character's skill or during their ult animation. So then most of the time, like with, for example, who's a really good example? Like Kazuha, for example, I'll always use his skill first and then his burst, because then when he uses his skill, it generates the animo particles, and then during the burst animation, he catches those particles, and you're invincible during the burst animation, right? So then you don't have to worry about like standing still or being vulnerable while you're catching those particles. So then for most characters, you can kind of use the same thing, or use the same philosophy, use the skill first, and then use the burst animation immediately afterwards, so then you can catch those particles from the skill while you're doing your burst. The same thing goes for Beidou. Beidou is another character that I do that a lot with. I use her skill first and then immediately use her burst. For characters like Xiangling who doesn't generate like a lot of particles herself, that's where it becomes a little bit more of an issue. So then you do have to swap between Bennett and Xiangling a lot. But most of the time, it's not a huge issue there either, because when you're using Bennett and Xiangling, you usually have Xingqiu as well. And Xingqiu gives you that damage reduction and the interruption resist from his rain swords. So then usually it's pretty safe to just go Bennett skill, immediately swap to Xiangling, normal attack a few times, and then swap off of her. And most of the time you're not going to take too much damage because Xingqiu is kind of protecting her. If you don't have Xingqiu, then yeah, it is a little difficult. You have to make sure you're not swapping onto the character at a vulnerable time, or you have to make sure You know the enemy's movesets well enough so that you can dodge them accordingly. But a lot of times, as long as you pair your skill and your burst together and you have enough ER on your characters, then it's usually not a huge issue to catch the particles. Hopefully that helps a little bit. And then somebody said you can catch the particles immediately if you pause by opening the map. That's kind of interesting. So then you can use your skill, open the map, and then wait for a little bit, and then close the map, and then your characters will catch the energy particles while the map is still open. So then that's one way of going around it. But like, I don't know. That's like not really playing Genshin Impact. It's like playing Map Impact. Alright, let's see here. First half. I want to try to use Alhaitham somehow. Probably like Yao Yao. Huh. What if I did like Raiden, Kazuha, Yao Yao, Alhaitham? That's kind of cool, right? That's like a aggravate plus spread. So then it's kind of awkward because Alhaitham and Raiden both use field time, but Alhaitham doesn't use too much field time, so I feel like it should be okay. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, I feel like it's just easier to swap into characters instead of opening the map every time. Oh, I don't have enough energy on Alhaitham. I almost have enough. I just need a little bit more energy there, so that's not too bad. Yeah, I barely have not enough energy on him to keep his burst uptime 100%. Oh, there's actually a super fast clear. Oh, that time actually deals so much AoE damage. That's insane. 842. Wow. It's probably the fastest clear I've done on that first half. Jeez. My favorite team comp is from my main Wanderer and Faruzan Bennett Yunjin. Yeah, that's a super solid one. Hyper ride Wanderer, as they call it. Alhaitham Quick Bloom. Yeah, if I had Hydro instead of, I guess, Kazuha there, that would be a Quick Bloom team. I could have done Kokomi, I guess, because... Or no, I guess I would replace Yao Yao. So then keep Kazuha for the grouping, and then just do Kokomi instead of Yao Yao, and then I have a Quick Bloom team. That would have been a lot better, actually, I think. That would be a super strong team. Raiden, Kazuha, Kokomi, Alhaitham. Because then you have so much solo damage, or like individual damage contribution from Alhaitham and Raiden, and you get the Hyper Boom damage, so that would be a very strong team. Alright, let's see how this team works out. Come on, Hyper Boom, trigger a little faster, please. Alright, so here, I'm conflicted on whether I should focus the Hydro one first, or the Cryo ones first. Because I feel like I need to break... Oh shoot, I'm about to die. Oh my god, the freeze, man. Maybe I should still go for the Hydro one. These freezes are just wrecking me. And they're pretty close together as it is, so... No, 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 no! Ooh, that was close. Okay, the Hydro one is dead, so we don't have to worry about freezes anymore. But I don't know if I have enough Electro application to get these guys down. Yeah, no. Oh my goodness. These guys are absurd. Yeah, I get like a really good burst of superconductor reactions here when I summon Fischl and I get that fast electro, or that kind of wave of electro application, but I don't think I have enough consistent electro application to break those cryo shields quickly enough. Is Fischl good with Alhaitham? Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Without Yao Yao, you definitely would need Fab on Alhaitham. Oh, that's true, yeah, because then I wouldn't have enough energy there. Okay, just got Kazuha this banner, enabled my Kaching and Abyss. Sucrose wasn't cutting it. I got Kazuha, Fab or Iron Sting. I prefer Fab. There's two school of thoughts, but yeah, I personally like to go EM Sands, or EM on everything obviously, but then EM Sands, and then Fav, which gives the ER which he needs. And the particles that you get, extra particles that you get from Fav, pretty much guarantees that he has his burst up on every rotation, even if you use his skill only like once per rotation. Maybe twice, maybe you need it twice. But yeah, I found that the burst uptime is way more consistent with Fav compared to doing Iron Sting plus the ER Sands. Why do I only have the 480p option? I'm sorry, Unit 5. It's just my computer can't handle a resolution output that's higher than that. You'll start to like drop to like 2 frames per second if I do anything higher than 480p, unfortunately. But yeah, Iron-Headed. My vote is Favonius. I think both will work. Some people do prefer Iron Sting, but I'm a huge fan of the Favonius weapons for energy recharge and burst uptime. Let's see. Would you say Kokomi is a good replacement for Yelan in a reverse vaporized Hu Tao team? No, you cannot replace Yelan in a Hu Tao team because Kokomi's Hydro application is not fast enough to keep up with Hu Tao's charged attacks. Yelan and Xingqiu are the only ones who can put out enough Hydro application for her. And that's pretty much the only options you have. Oh yeah, and Bunji raises a good point. Going Fav, like Fav gives more ER than an ER Sands, and an EM Sands gives more EM than Iron Sting. So then going Fav plus the EM Sands gives you more ER and EM total compared to going Iron Sting plus the ER Sands, if that makes sense. So then it just in terms of like the numbers, like the raw stats that you get, it's just objectively better, or you objectively get more ER and more EM if you go Fav plus EM Sands, just because Fav gives so much ER and the EM Sands also gives more EM. The EM Sands gives 187 EM and Iron Sting gives 165 EM. So then you get 20 more EM and you get about 10% more ER from the Fav sword. So in terms of like the total stat budget that you get, this configuration is also better. Let's see. In terms of Hydro application, is Kokomi good enough to support Hutao? No. Oh, with Xingqiu? If you have Xingqiu and Kokomi, then yeah, that's totally fine. Because Xingqiu alone can pretty much support Hutao's Vaporize applications. So yeah, Kokomi would just give you the extra survivability and a little bit more Hydro application. How much RAM does your PC have? I think it's 16 gigs. The RAM is not the limitation for me, it's the CPU. My CPU runs really hot. I actually looked into this recently because it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem, but my CPU temperature is running way too hot because the AIO cooler is not doing its job very well. The pump is... If you ever hear some of the background noise, or if you guys can hear the background noise on my streams or in my videos, it's like a really loud kind of buzzing noise, almost like a fan noise. And I recently found out that's coming from my AIO pump. So the pump, I think, is failing, and I'm probably going to have to replace the entire AIO cooler system. And that's a pretty involved process. I have to pick out a new one that fits my PC case and replace that sometime. Hoping to do that soon, but until then, yeah, my CPU is just running way too hot. It gets throttled when the temperature gets too high, and then it can't output very good resolution or frame rates because of that. Let's see. Save Kokomi for Hyperbloom. Yeah, I would say Kokomi is most useful for Hyperblooms and Freeze teams. That's typically where I use her. Let's see. Saxord gives same ER as Fav, which makes it a semi... Saxord does not give the same ER as Fav, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I am mistaken. It does give the same ER as Fav. I'm sorry. Yeah, Saxord is a really good option too, because then it doesn't generate the extra particles, but then you usually get an extra charge of his jump, which kind of compensates for that. And being able to jump twice is also super satisfying with Kazuha. If you've ever used Saxord with Kazuha, you'll know what I mean. But yeah, getting the jump, the burst, and the jump again is like a super satisfying combo, and you just like don't take any damage throughout the entire thing. Let's see. Does Yelan, Bennett, Kazuha, Xiangling work? Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like an upgraded national team. Yelan gives you that strong fast hydro application. You get the reverse vaporize from Xiangling, and then Kazuha gives the pyro damage buff to Xiangling as well. So that's very, very strong. And yeah, Kokomi would be healing Hutao, which is obviously not great for Hutao. She wants to stay under 50% for the extra pyro damage buff. So that's also not ideal. Use air cooling. Water cooling is usually unnecessary unless you're overclocking. Oh, that's really interesting. That's good to know. Is air cooling just like where you have the copper contact and then it's a fan attached to the copper contact that just cools it out? And I'm assuming air cooling takes up way less space than the liquid cooling system, right? Because you don't have the radiator. Isn't Yelan hydro application lower than Xingqiu's though? Yes, that is correct. So on that Kazuha national team, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. It is still better to have Xingqiu in Yelan slot if you want more frequent vaporizes, or if you want to vaporize Xiangling's Pyronado very, very consistently. Xingqiu is going to be your better bet, but Yelan is a close second. She's a good runner-up. Get a box fan, put it next to the tower. Water cooling was better. These days, the air cooling systems are much better. You can even be quieter in a lot of cases. Oh, okay. That's really good to know. I'll look into an air cooling system too. One thing I'm having a bit of trouble with in the last chamber of 11th floor, second half. Hydro Abyss Heralds hate my Hyper Wanderer team, so I wanted to ask what teams I could use. What characters do you have? Typically, for the Hydro Heralds, you want a Dendro or a Cryo character, because those are the ones that... Dendro and Cryo are the ones that can break those Hydro shields quickly. I have Nahida and every 4-star apart from Kirara, Mika, and the Rocker Lady. Don't even remember her name. Poor Xinyan. She's the Rocker Lady. But yeah, you don't need the Rocker Lady for floor 11, so that's fine. If you have Nahida, you're pretty much good. I might even recommend running Wanderer. Let me see here. If you have Nahida, that takes care of the Hydro, or Hydro Mage. Then you need Pyro and Hydro. Can you do that? Nahida, Pyro, Hydro, Wanderer. Can we do like a Wanderer soup team? Let's try that. We're gonna go for the Wanderer soup team here. So this is kind of the setup that, like, I'm assuming if you just wanted to keep Wanderer, I mean, you don't have to use Wanderer here, obviously. But yeah, Nahida, you need Dendro, Hydro, and Pyro on that second half to deal with all the shields. So Dendro will deal with the Hydro shields really quickly, and then Hydro will deal with the Pyro shield, and Pyro will deal with the Cryo shield. So this is kind of the combination that I would use. And then the fourth slot is a flex slot. In this case, I'm just going to use Wanderer because you mentioned him. And then, let's see. And yeah, air cooling is bypassing water cooling these days. Interesting. Wanderer plus Toma is a firebender. Nice. Best team for mono Hydro shields is probably a Fridge team. Oh yeah, that's a really good point, because then you combine Cryo and Hydro, or Cryo and Dendro, and just rip through those Hydro shields. Unfortunately, on this half, I wouldn't recommend it, just because there are a lot of other shields present there. But if you were just against Hydro shields, then yeah, Cryo plus Dendro would be the way to go. Or Cryo, Dendro, Hydro would be the way to go. Alright, and the first half, probably, let's see, we have the Lector here. I'm gonna go some kind of Kazuha. I'm gonna go reverse Milk on you. Let's try that. No, because I have Bennett on this half. Let's just go. I'll go for my Overload team again. I'm a sucker for this team. I'm sorry. Oh, but this time I don't have Bennett, huh? You know what? Am I gonna go here? The Wanderer gonna get bounced around in that team. No shield. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We do have the interruption resist from Xingqiu, so that's gonna help a lot. Do you have every character at 90? No, not 90. I have all 5-star characters at 90, except for Klee, unfortunately. Sorry. Oh, and Mona. I didn't realize Mona's not 90. Still working on these two, and I try to get all of my 4-stars to at least 80. And I'm still working on Kaveh and Candice, who I recently got. Burgeon Alhaitham. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Burgeon Alhaitham. That sounds good. Let's do Toma, Yelan, Yao Yao, and yeah, let's do it. Kokomi Electro Charge, that's another good one. Is Overload as a reaction good? I never viewed it as being very useful. Yeah, it's usually not super good unless you're against heavy enemies. Like against Ruin Guard. If you're against like multiple Ruin Guards or Ruin Hunters, or the Sentinels, Overload can be really good there. The Kenki Trio is another good one, or another place where that can be useful. But yeah, any time you have multiple enemies that can't be knocked away by the Overload explosion is a good candidate for Overload. 俺が守るよ。捕まえた。糸よ、工作せよ。動かないでよ。Sorry if it's like painfully obvious that I don't know how to use Alhaitham correctly. And yeah, I think Mero, you said floor 11, right? Not floor 12? Hopefully I didn't enter the wrong floor here. You're talking about floor 11, chamber 3, right? With the Hydro Heralds? Okay, I'm gonna ignore the loud troll for now. I think he's just gonna come to me. Okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, floor 11, chamber 3. Okay, yeah. That's what I'm going for right now. And this is the team that I wanted to highlight for that. So then it's Nahida, Xingqiu, Bennett for the 3 shields, and then Wanderer is just the flex pick there. Do you have all of your characters built, or do they share weapons and artifacts? They do share them. So I have a few core characters that I kind of leave untouched because I want them to be like strong and I want to be able to use them whenever I need them. Like Xiangling, Bennett, Xingqiu, like those kind of like core characters. But there are some other like niche characters that I don't use very often. Those guys will usually end up sharing artifacts a lot. Alright, Wanderer, show them what's up. Oh wait, I'm not getting any Burgeon procs here because I don't have any Pyro application now that I look at it. So Bennett will have to take care of the Cryo Shield on that last chamber. Something to be aware of. Oh wow, okay, the interruption resist is not enough actually. He is getting knocked around pretty badly. Alright. I've got to say, your advice about doing specific chambers with specific teams instead of doing all the chambers with the same 2 teams was life-saving. I even used it in this Abyss cycle. Nice. Happy to hear it helped. Yeah, it should definitely make it easier to target specific chambers. Because we have some cycles where one team can sweep the entire chamber, but most of the time, the enemies have enough variety that there are going to be small optimizations that you can make for every chamber to find the team that works best for them. When is it worth popping Nahida ult? I usually find the animation time is too big of a DPS loss. I completely agree with that. I usually only need it if I need like a lot of Dendro application. Most of the times, like Hyperbloom and Burgeon teams, like they don't proc Hyperbloom and Burgeon often enough for it to be even like worth it, because you usually end up with more Dendro seeds than you can proc them. So most of the time I don't use it. Only time I would use Nahida Burst a lot. Well, I use it to iframe first of all. So like if I'm about to die, then I'll use Nahida's Burst because it has such a long animation. And then the other time is usually in like spread teams, like Quick Bloom teams with like Alhaitham or something. Then since I want both the spread, aggravate, and the Hyperbloom procs, that's usually when I need that extra Dendro application, and that's when I'll use Nahida's Burst a little bit more frequently. Good question. Is Toma good for Burgeon even at C0? I want to say yes. The only disadvantage of C0 is that his shield or his burst doesn't last as long, so then the uptime isn't going to be as good. But aside from that, it doesn't affect your rate of Burgeon application, because like the rate at which his burst procs is 2.5 seconds regardless of his constellations. So in that regard, I don't think it makes a huge difference. It's just the length of the rotation that's going to change a bit with the constellations. Alright. And I'm actually going to pull these guys to the front of the arena, because now I just remember that the Hydro Abyss mages spawn up here. So let's bring the fight over here. Big Burgeon proc, and then we're going to move to Wanderer. Oh wait, no, okay, this is not the chamber with the Hydro Abyss mages apparently, so I got that wrong. Didn't need to move her here after all. Oh my goodness, I'm taking so much burning damage. Or friendly fire burning damage. I'm actually gonna swap to Bennett so that he's not like almost dead. Okay, feels a little better. You could have erased Xinyan from that event where she was saying along Hu Tao and it would have had no difference. Excuse me? Xinyan is... She's our resident musician. She's our resident lead guitarist. How can you say that? I use Toma at C0. It's okay, but I need a lot of ER. Worked for the Nilo Abyss. Oh, good to know. Thank you. Wow, I can not get a Fab proc here. What the heck? Okay, there we go. Okay, and then Mirror Maiden. Hu Tao needs to stop rapping. Xinyan was fine. Yeah, I thought the Hu Tao rap was a little bit more questionable. That was it was a little tough to watch, to be honest. But I enjoy the spirit. I appreciate their spirit. Alright, we're finally here. Hopefully this team works. I haven't actually used this team on this half, but in theory it should work. On paper it should work, since we have all the right elements. So let's see how this goes. We just need to make sure Bennett breaks that cryo shield for us, because he's the only source of pyro application. Or the only consistent source of pyro application. Okay, that's down. Okay, I think we can switch to Wanderer now. Oh, and this is... We're also dealing like all single target damage, so I guess that's not ideal. Okay. And then now, Nahida should be able to take care of these guys pretty easily. Okay, we got one of them transformed. Let's get the other one. Okay, and at this point, we don't even really need Wanderer. Like, we can just stay on... Alright, I'm gonna use Xingqiu's burst so that we don't get knocked around too much. But aside from that, I'm just gonna use Nahida's skill and like normal attacks to break these guys' shields, because like she can single-handedly break both of them so quickly. And they don't even have to be together because of the chaining mechanism on her skill. It's just... She's just completely broken when it comes to breaking Hydro shields. We've never seen anything like it. And yeah, that's how the clear should go. So you just have to make sure you apply the right elements on the right shields, and then for that last wave with the Hydro Heralds, just keep Nahida alive, make sure you keep your Dendro application up, keep them linked with her skill, and you should be good. Alright. You could have taken down the Flying Ruin Machine with Yelan. Hu Tao has that hidden talent. Hu Tao rapping in CN was really good. Oh, interesting. The translation just didn't work out that well. Huh. I'll have to go back and listen to that now. First time I saw the Hu Tao rap, it was in the Japanese dub. Then I looked up the English dub and it made me recoil. Yeah, that was my experience. Because I play in the Japanese VA too. And I don't know, I can't understand Japanese, so it didn't sound that bad. But then, yeah, the English one is, it's no good. It's a little hard to watch. You named your wanderer Rubah. You know Indonesian. Yeah, I don't know Indonesian, but I can speak it a little bit. My wife is Indonesian, so bisa ngomong Indo sedikit. And I named him Rubah because it means fox in Indonesian, and if you guys did his story quest, then you'll remember there was the allegory of the fox and the kittens, and it's to symbolize that he's accepted as one of the foxes. But yeah, aku bukan omong Indo. Tidak? Tidak or bukan? Bukan. Aku bukan orang Indo. Aku orang Korea. Tapi istriku orang Indo. Oh, selamat pagi. Over here it's 3 p.m. So I guess that's selamat siang. I don't know. I always get the afternoons mixed up. Funny that you put Nahida and Wanderer in the same team because of lore reasons. That's a good point. Alright. I think that's a wrap. No pun intended. Nothing to do with Hu Tao there. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully that was helpful. We got a lot of questions answered in this run, so that's really good to see. Hopefully I answered everybody's questions. And yeah, I think the biggest tip that I walked away with this cycle is focusing the Hydra Herald first on 12-1 second half. That those clears ended up coming out way more consistent than what I was doing before. So if you're struggling with that, make sure you bring Dendro into the second half, focus that Hydra Herald first, and then let Xiangling take care of the Cryo Heralds afterwards. And I think that should give you a little bit more consistent clear. At least it worked for me. Oh, Salamat Sore, thank you. But yeah, I think that's the biggest tip that I walked away with this session. Thank you everybody for tuning in again, and I will see you all in about 15 days on July 1st when we have to do this all over again for 640 Primo Gems. 600 Primo Gems, sorry. Alright, take care everybody. Have a good day, have a good morning, have a good evening.